What's up, guys? Today for Whiteboard Wednesday, we're going to talk over hypertrophy. What is hypertrophy? The simple way of saying it is getting jacked. How do I get bigger? So it's increasing muscle size, increasing the cross-sectional area of the muscle, and it's normally increasing number of myofibrils, actin, myosin, titin, and nebulin as well. And the fiber size that increases most of the time with hypertrophy is type 2. So normally, if you're trying to become more explosive, if you look at a lot of athletes, gaining lots of muscle size is not great when it comes to that. If you look at a bodybuilder compared to an athlete, they're normally not going to be extremely fast or athletic. They've actually slowed down those in-between fibers into more type 2. So when we're talking two types of hypertrophy, there's myofibrillar hypertrophy, which is growth of muscle fibers, contractile parts, increasing strength. So the type you would want for sports where there's actually a benefit to it. And then sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is where we're increasing the volume of fluid in the muscle cell, leading to increased muscle size but not strength. So that's more for like physique and more of how we want to look. Your mechanisms of hypertrophy, there's three factors that stimulate hypertrophy. You got mechanical tension, where you're looking at loads from 60 to 80% 1 rep max for reps. You have muscle damage, which is soreness from total volume, and metabolic stress like burnouts, myoreps, drop sets, anything that's really driving that lactic acid really high in the muscles while you're doing the set. So it's going to be burning on those sets. They're going to be higher rep sets. It's just trying to get metabolic stress that'll actually force more blood there. The lactic acid will clear out almost instantly, but you're just forcing more blood to there. When it comes to driving adaptation, you need to scare your body, as Dr. Pat Davidson would say. So you're going to have to basically force the body to adapt. So you're trying to force it to want to grow more muscle. So you have to train very hard when we're looking at this. So the other thing is volume matters. So your total volume is normally volume equals reps times sets times load. That's the most simple way to calculate volume. There's others. Maximal recoverable volume is an important thing to know. It's the maximum amount of training that volume per muscle group that you can actually recover from. So if we're looking at the graph over here, it'd be where you're all the way on the right of it. That's how much you can actually recover from. And then maintenance volume needed to maintain current muscle, is basically, that's an important number to know if you're in the during season for athletes. We're trying to maintain as much muscle as possible. And then minimum effective volume is the least volume needed for gains. So that would be the left of the graph where we're looking at basically trying to get some gains, but you're not training hard enough to get the optimal. So somewhere in between minimum effective volume and maximal recoverable volume is going to be your sweet spot, and that takes time to figure out. What a lot of people want to know is how many sets, what reps for hypertrophy. It's not that easy. If you look here, the graph for hypertrophy, your rep range right here can be anywhere even above 20 reps when you're talking about potentially going into metabolic stress for it. So it's going to vary. You'll typically see anywhere between 6 and 12 reps is the recommended rep range, but it can be anywhere on the spectrum. It's not just one. And when we're talking sets, it's not as important. It's important, but it's how many you're doing for the week, not necessarily just that exercise. And on that muscle group is what's important there. And with that, like what's more important than this is your rest periods when it comes to hypertrophy. It's normally that 60 to 90-second rest is going to be the most important with it. Probably the one main thing people don't realize about hypertrophy, it's maximizing your recovery is the most important building block. Once you've stimulated enough, you have to actually recover. So to do that, to actually gain muscle, you're looking for a surplus of 250 to 500 calories per day. We're looking at sleep. You got to get sleep 7 to 9 hours a night. Protein intake of 1.8 to 2.2 grams per kilo, or simplified for us Americans, 1 gram per pound would be that 2.2 grams per kilo. And we have to be able to manage our stress, so we have to be calm, relaxed, because we don't want that cortisol getting into us all the time, which actually will negatively affect our recovery. And then have social engagement. Actually be around friends, things like that. There's a soothing part to that that actually helps with recovery, that you're actually having a good time and it helps you actually de-stress. And that is hypertrophy.